Welcome in to another episode of the My Two Bits Gators Football Podcast, or if you prefer, your weekly therapy session. I am one of your hosts, Ben, joined as always by our other host, Mr. Randy. Randy, how we doing tonight?
Hi, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Randy Prasad, and I am a Florida Gator fan.
Indeed, yes. We are going to need support groups throughout this season. That is going to be evidently clear. And we thank you for joining this support group and hope that this is going to be therapeutic for you as it is for us. So, tough day, tough weekend. Hopefully not the first of too many, but I have a bad feeling that there's going to be more than we would like based on what we saw. But let's get into it. Let's talk about it. Let's break it down. That's what we do, and hopefully we will find some sort of recourse in that, and at least talking it out and getting through it. So to that end, as always, start things off here with our intro, our mission, our vision, and our agenda. Our mission is always to provide factual analysis of all things Florida Gator football. Our vision is to have unfiltered conversation around the product on the field, as well as recruiting and overall coaching decisions. Our analysis will be based on review of film, and while we will express opinion, that opinion should always be based in some form of fact. We will also evaluate strategy and tactics and discuss our observation of player personnel decisions. I have a few of those tonight, as well as on the field execution or lack thereof. Little ad lib on that one. So to that end, our agenda, as always, for games during the season is our Oh My section, where we'll discuss exciting plays on the field. I guess there were some of those. Okay, and we'll talk about the offense in the Chomp segment, then the defense in the Gator Bait segment. We will then talk about our complaints with the visor throw segment. We'll try not to keep that one too long tonight. Mine's actually surprisingly short. I think I've got enough complaints in the other segments, so we won't make too many there. We'll then talk about recruiting in our hatchling segment, culture and the pride of the sunshine segment, officiating in the move back you suck segment, which that song played a lot this weekend. Goodness. And then we will wrap things up, talk about the state of the team, play a little keeper pitch it for this week's game with the Bulldogs of Mississippi State, and wrap things up with a little conclusion. Oh, and I'm sorry, and of course talk about the Sims from NCAA 25 and the new segment we have this year, and then wrap things up and talk about next week's episode, which will be a little different, but we'll get to that at the end. So, to that end, let's talk a little Oh My. We will always try to start with the positive, right? Lead with the things that are good, where we can find them. So to that end, what do you got for Oh My's for me this week, Randy?
Oh My's.
In a good way, though. In a good way.
I know. The first I'll start with our first touchdown of the game. And the only thing I'll say about that is it was really nice to see the progression on how it happened. I would have liked to have said the other first touchdown of the game. That was a great oh my because of the route in the pass, but it got called back. So I'll just end it with Mertz had a really good fake. He faked the sweep to DK. He faked the handoff to Johnson, and he found Badger in the corner of the end zone for a touchdown. So like the progression of that play, like the way it shaped up and came down, and great pass, great catch, pitch and catch, awesome. But the way it developed was phenomenal. And outside of that, I had a question on why we were punting in field goal territory. So, but I'm going to leave that for another section. But Shim DK, I tell you what, great stop on the 1 yard line. And I'll just say that you can definitely see a turnaround in special teams.
Yes, you really can. And well said. Well said. Decision making is still a question to your point, but that is well said, because that was phenomenal execution. That's like the third time we've done it. So really, really good call out there. Actually, I didn't even think to draw that one out there, but it's a nice call. Nice call.
Yeah. When you think about oh my's, especially on special teams, we talk about taking it back for a touchdown, and that's great. But to pin another team at the 1 yard line, again, Crawshaw gave up some yards on the punt for it, no problem. But to pin the opposing team at the 1, that hopefully builds some momentum and does some good things. In this case, it did not, but that's okay. It was still an oh my for me. What do you got, B?
Yeah, well, it led to a 99-yard touchdown drive, though it shouldn't have, in fairness, and we'll cover that later as well. thanks to an interesting official ruling, but I can't even call it a call. But again, we'll get there later. I only have 2 as well. Kind of similar on the first one. I'm actually going to I'm going to take a page out of your playbook from last week and call a series of plays 1-0 my. And I'm going to call Mertz's first drive in the second half. I'm going to refer to as an oh my. Now, it's not one play, and this is designed to be one play. But a couple things about this, right? First of all, we all saw the first half and the lack of offense within it, right? It was abysmal. And Mertz comes out of halftime. We get the ball, and he goes right down the field and looks clinical, absolutely clinical with his accuracy, with his reads, with his decision making. Everything is on point. He is the Mertz that I wanted to see game 1, series 1, right, of this season, that we frankly haven't seen until that drive. And that was refreshing and very pleasing to the eye. I don't know if I can quite call it 2.0, though that, to your point, that throw he made for the touchdown that did get called back was right on the borderline of 2.0. That was nice. And especially when you consider that Trey's not on the field to divert some of these guys' attention, right, off of these other receivers, and they're still making these plays. Pretty outstanding.
Fair.
More of that is good for this team this year, and we need all we can get. That's what I have to say about that, and I was very, very pleased to see it. I think there's something to build on there, which we need things to build on. Goodness knows. But it was really good to see that on offense. My second oh my is kind of a half oh my, half visor throw, which I apologize for that, but there's no other way to say it. The good part of this is Jacoby Jackson and Treyon Webb running the ball. Again, I'm going to use a series of plays here, but when they had the ball in their hands, good things happened in this game. Our O-line cannot hold a block. They cannot hold a block. I'll get to this more later, especially in the run game with any kind of quality opponent. And it's time to look for backs that have a quick first step and better cutting ability than Montrell. Sorry, not sorry. It is what it is. I love Montrell. He's a terrific guy, terrific player in many respects, but this is not his strength. His first step is borderline slow. It is just not good enough or quick enough. Maybe not good enough isn't the right word, but it's not quick enough for what we need this year with this offense against any kind of competent defensive opponent. We need guys like Jacoby and Treyon Webb out there doing these things and showing what they showed in this game. They looked 100 times better than him. They're not, but they looked 100 times better than him because of the nature of how they run, how they cut, things that they can do with the ball that Montrell just doesn't have the natural ability to do. He's a great running back. He has terrific vision, but he's just not built the same way. It's not his fault. Not his fault. It's nothing against Montrell. He's just not well suited for the problems that we currently have. And it is what it is. So, again, apologize for that getting a little negative, but it's something that I think we need to address and see going forward. So, really hats off to Jacoby and Treyon for the way that they ran, though. I thought they were actually excellent, despite the drastic challenges faced with our run blocking. That's woof. Okay, moving along. Let's talk a little offense. Do a little chomp segment here, or lack thereof if we're talking about the first half. So first and foremost, as always, QB rating. This is a Mertz-Lagway combo QB rating. Mertz actually would have been much better in this game. Lagway did not have good numbers in this game. But regardless, the combined QB rating, because obviously they alternated, was a 72.99. So if you recall, we use the NFL rating. Anything over 100 is good. So 72.99, not good. Yards per carry, which is the other piece of this stat we look at, was 3.43. So we called out, and that is with DJ's negative yardage eliminated, by the way, because he didn't really scramble in this game at all. He may have tried to, but he didn't do it effectively. So we took those yards out. Sure. So neither one of those numbers is good at all, obviously. And we called out that rushing yards and time of possession both were going to be very important in this game, as kind of keys to the game when we talked about it last week. So we'll touch on that more later. But obviously, neither of those is going to indicate that we did well in either one of those metrics. And of course, we did not. So first half offense might have been the worst half offense I've seen under Napier, including the Miami game. which I didn't think it could get worse than that, but hey, look, it might did. Yeah, that was terrible. Absolutely terrible. The O-line play continues to be just horrific, as I've already mentioned, and again, especially in run blocking. I will say, to try to get a little silver lining here, there was a slight improvement in pass blocking in this game versus week one, the last time we played anybody who, had an actual team. No offense, Samford. The second half was a bit better, offensively speaking. But still, when the run isn't working, we have to be more creative with the play design. In the pass game, in the run game, whatever. And we just don't see that with Napier. We know we don't see it. It's not news. These are not hot takes. We've been saying this for 2 years. This is just not something that he seems capable of doing. This is why we wanted an OC, right? And we didn't get one. Very disappointed, maybe most disappointed of all in the play calling for Lagway. We saw some creative play design, at least somewhat creative play design. It wasn't revolutionary, but it did look better last week with Samford when Lagway was the starter. I did not see that this week. I did not see differences in the route combinations, in the play design, in the play concept. We looked like we were just calling plays for Mertz when Lagway was in the game. The whole point of Lagway being in the game to help you is that it opens up more your playbook. It frees you up for more creativity, different plays that you can run. It looked like he was just calling the same game and just putting a different quarterback in. No, dummy, that's not the point. Excuse me for being rude there with the insult, but you're missing it, man. You're just missing it. The whole point is you put him in so you can call different stuff. I think he called an option one time and that didn't work, but that's not it either. The point is that you can call more creative things in the pass game, more open play designs, more, backfield motion with the quarterback, get him more mobile. Don't just have him stand back there passing and scramble if he needs to. Yeah, that can be an option, but it shouldn't be the preferred one, right? Have him move, have him be agile, work him into the run game better with RPO. I think I saw 1 RPO, maybe 2 when he was in. Really? I don't get it. I don't get it. It's just not, it doesn't make sense and it's not helpful. So there you go. There's my vent session for offense. What do you got?
That's actually, I'm really proud of you because I thought it was going to be much worse. So wait.
It could have been, believe me, but I tried to.
Well, I know. I mean, I'm pretty sure we watched the same game. Yeah. But good job of going up to 30,000 foot and holding instead of 10,000 foot. I really appreciate that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I'm going to go back to a term that I used last fall, and it has to do with ice cream. And you know where I'm going with this.
Yes.
Plain vanilla.
Yeah, big time.
I don't even get the nice chunks of wild vanilla, Madagascar, whatever, natural vanilla. I just get plain old imitation vanilla. Forget the chocolate, forget the strawberry. Plain vanilla. The variance in play calling, the diversity, not to fulfill the DNI quota in play calling, I'm just saying there is none. For the old ball coach to say it, Lagway, couldn't get him in rhythm for whatever reason. I agree with you. It's oddly enough in my notes I had him. It looks like the plays for Lagway or play for Mertz just could not get into rhythm.
Love it. Yep.
Had no pop on his passes. So it was what it was. 19 first downs. 19 first downs, just atrocious. 52 rushing yards net. 52 rushing yards.
And even if you take out the negative 20 for Lagway, it's 72.
Right?
Yikes.
And that's the other thing. And we're supposed to be able to run against this D-line. Supposed to. I'll just say that.
Well, at least somewhat. I mean, they are a decent D-line, let's be real, but they should be able to do something.
Not to the tune of sub 90 yards. I mean, seriously.
Sub 75 yards.
Okay. Exactly. 301 yards of total offense. Okay, 7 penalties, 65 yards. Of those 7 penalties, you have more than half of them occurring on the offensive side of the football. Okay. And the another game with under 60 plays, 54 plays. And then the one of the biggest indictments that I think we have, regardless of anything else that shows up, right, on the optics and everything else that is, oh baby, time of possession. And
Yep.
this is something that we did a very good job of last year with some longer methodical drives. But let's be honest, this year is just not happening at all. 22 minutes and 14 seconds compared to 37-46 on the other side of the football.
And we talked about that too, and we'll talk more about it later, but we talked
We
about
will.
it being of key importance.
Very key. And not to mention third down conversion, we got to stay on the field. And we went 2 for 9 on third down conversions, a whopping 22%. Folks, at the end of the day, those are the different things that made up this game. In addition to that, allowing 2 sacks for about 21-ish total yards lost. I couldn't have said it. I mean, there really is no other way to say it. The lack of diversity or diversification when you look at the play calling, the lack of rhythm. And this is going to sound really harsh for a second, but you can barely get one quarterback going to the point where you're implementing a full scheme, a full game scheme for him, start to finish. Yes, Mertz. Much less trying to implement a 2 QB system.
Yep.
No, I'm sorry.
Yep.
It's got to be one or the other. It's got to be.
So I don't know if you saw this, but there's an article that just dropped late this afternoon. He released the statement about what he's going to do with quarterbacks next week. And he says he's going to handle it a little differently, where he's going to start Mertz, play Lagway, and then whichever one seems to be going along better, he'll try to ride the hot hand more.
You know what? You want to ride the hot hand, that's fine. But it is just absolutely, it's absolutely terrible when you look at the way that the quarterback room is being handled. Because again, I don't believe we have that bad of a quarterback room. When you look at Mertz's experience and Lagway's talent and cannon of an arm, okay?
Yeah, no, I agree.
Play calling has to change. Russ Callaway, where are you? Right? What is going on there? What is happening with Enos back there as a offensive? What is he, an offensive analyst? Is that right?
Something like that. Yeah. Some kind of analyst. I don't know if it's just offensive or what the official title is, but he's some kind of analyst.
How many coaches, how many assistants, how many directors, how much help do we need to produce this? Now, again, I know just up north in Tallahassee, they're 0-3, and they're wondering what in Sam Hill $12 million bought them for this fall. They sure as hell didn't buy him 0-3. But it's just very tough to see such a pedestrian, lackluster, almost lifeless offense when we clearly have weapons across the field. And I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's well said. Well said. It's a lot of misuse of talent going on out there right now. A lot of it. And it's very hard to watch. All right, let's proceed to what's more hard to watch. The defense. Go ahead.
What's more hard to watch? I like it. Well, I don't really, but I understand. I understand. So, to start us off on the QBR side, as we already stated, the QBR for the Gators was 72.99, which was a joint QBR. Let's talk about Marcel Reed. Redshirt freshman. That's all I have to say about that. QBR 138.85.
Boom.
Dare I say again, I think we wanted Connor Wegman to start.
We did want Connor Wegman to start, for what it's worth.
You know what? As I'll say, I'll take from a good movie, A Few Good Men. We wanted Connor Wegman. We needed Connor Wegman, okay? Because clearly we weren't prepared for Marcel Reed.
Clearly not.
Last time I checked, Marcel Reed was still juking his way back to Texas. So 138.85 QBR, yards per carry of 5.64.
Gross.
Very gross. So let's talk about A&M's 27 first downs. I can reference a lot of different things, but I'll just talk about their first possession. First quarter, first possession, first drive. It's 2nd and 21, and Reed scrambles. 4 jukes, 47 yards later. Next possession. Oh, I'm sorry. Still the first possession, first drive. Later on in the drive, 3rd and 10, pass across the middle, first down. A few plays later, 3rd and 13, Reed ranging to his right, passes across his body back to the middle, first down. Okay. 3rd and 9, well set up screen, very good play disguise. Thank goodness, touchdown was called back. Either way, 3rd and 19, big completion up the middle, just short of a first down, decided to go for a field goal to put up 3-0. Folks, that was the opening drive by a redshirt freshman quarterback in the swamp. Huh?
Yep.
He made the swamp seem like a marsh. I'm sorry. Unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. Okay? 310 net rushing yards? What? Okay?
Yeah.
We allowed on defense 178 net passing yards. You're like, oh, that's okay, 178. Okay. We gave up more on the ground. Yeah, but here's the asterisk on that 178. 73 of it was in one pass to Allen over the side as DJ Douglas chose wrong. DJ Douglas also chose wrong in coverage multiple times. And as much as I can call out a few other people, DJ Douglas finished it up with Marcel's final 2 jukes as he finished him, as it was Mortal Kombat, and DJ Douglas stumbled, bumbled, fumbled, and fell to the ground in absolute misery. That was a great encompassment of this game. Unacceptable. 488 total yards of offense, 72 plays, and they possessed the ball for the better part of 37 plus minutes. 100% red zone scoring, 2 for 2. The only bad thing I can say as far as Florida West goes, they missed 2 field goals. That's about it. But that really wasn't on us. That was on their kicker. Outside of that, I do not understand. We talked about the defensive wins, did we not be, last year? We talked about the winning percentage and what this defense did last year. Again, tough games. We gave up some big plays. I hate to say it, but this year we have absolutely regressed under Ron Roberts.
Yes, indeed.
I am tired of seeing the camera go to Ron when they talk about the defense. I am tired of seeing him talk out of the side of his mouth to get to the speaker microphone of his headset. It is absolutely disgusting, and it needs a big change. Where is AA? I'm sorry. Because we need his enthusiasm, we need some of his design, and we need his motivation on the sideline right now. Because this defense, it looks like they have taken multiple steps backward. I'll stop there, B. What you got?
Man, I love it. I really love it. Not for the right reasons, obviously, but I know. I love your anger about this, because I'm vehemently angry about this defense. As much as the offense is upsetting, I got to say, in a way, I kind of saw it coming. I feel like I've seen it coming. I feel like our offense has been more productive than it probably should have been based on what we've seen on film. I feel like it's been like kind of a smoke screen, right? We've been calling that it's too predictable, that it's too one-dimensional, that there's not enough diversity in the plays, that it's too vanilla, right? These are things we've been saying for a while. And I'm kind of surprised it took as long as it did for other teams to really fully figure it out. I'm not saying they didn't have it figured out completely before now, but they sure as heck got it figured out now, right? You're seeing evidence of it. They know the cues. They know the reads in. on what to do, and they've clearly read the book. And now it's coming, the chickens are coming home to roost on that, and you're seeing the problems that creates. Only when we run stuff that we haven't run, 65 times in the past 4 games, do we have success. Amazing. What do you know, right? To change it up a little, and the defense doesn't know that you're going to run that play, right? Because they haven't seen it 25 times on film the last game. So, that's the problem there, and I can't believe it hasn't been a problem sooner, but for whatever reason it hasn't, and there you go. So it is what it is in that regard. But again, I feel like I kind of had this bad feeling it was coming, right? I was hoping we were going to see different things, but now that we haven't, it's like, okay, well, what'd you expect? But the defense. You remember our conversations, and if you listen to this pod back at the end of last season, you know that I was very, very hopeful about this defense for this season. I had high hopes for what this defense could do. And I really thought it was going to happen. I mean, I was confident. I was confident that we were going to see this. AA put a lot of stuff together last year, and it was just right there. Like, it was just right there. And as bad as some of the numbers were, they were actually kind of misleadingly bad, like to the point where it was certain things that were skewing the numbers. Because if you looked at certain statistics like first down success rate and second down success rate, we were really, really good. And then you looked at, third down conversion actually was pretty good. We were in the mid 30s last year for what we allowed. It was just those explosives and those missed tackle numbers. Those were the things that messed it up last year. A couple other things too, but really those were the keys. And I was like, man, we just clean those things up, and all of a sudden these defensive numbers are just going to skyrocket. So that's what I'm thinking we have a real chance to do this year, because it's not that hard to just clean those things up. It's really very possible. And then Ron Roberts comes in. And I don't know what happened, because this looks like garbage. This looks like absolute garbage. And I'm straight up right now, I'm done with Ron Roberts. I want him gone today. I want him out. That's where I am with this. This defense is significantly worse than last year for multiple different reasons. First off, the scheme. The scheme is not near as good. It's not near as aggressive. It's not near as well-defined and well-organized and well-planned based on what the other team is doing. And that is by far my biggest issue. We're just trying to be conservative so we don't give up the big play. And then guess what? We have communication problems, and the guys don't understand what they're doing, and we give up the big play anyway, because we have blown coverages left and right. We had 5 blown coverages minimum in that game that I could see on film clearly. There may have been more, because again, we don't have the all 22. We can't see everything. But that's not the first game we've had multiple blown coverages. See Miami. How about see Samford, where we blew at least 3 against an FCS team? Are you kidding me? And last but not least, lack of aggression that makes sense. So you may have seen we had multiple different blitzes in this game. We had multiple different blitzes against Miami. But we're running blitzes that don't make sense. We're running a safety blitz from DJ Douglas in this game way down from the – like, you can see him coming a mile away. If you're going to have him blitz, give a cover 0 look and have him blitz and pull a backer off so that you replace the safety and actually have somebody in coverage. For those who don't know what I mean, in a cover 0 look, you can, when I mean a look, you can have those safeties cheat down before the snap so they're not in a deep safety look, a too high safety look, right? And then you're having them closer to the line of scrimmage so he doesn't have to run 25 yards to get to the line of scrimmage. So by the time he gets there, the quarterback's like, oh, yeah, I saw you coming, bro. I'm just going to throw it out here where there's nobody over there because I know it was on your side of the field, and I can see I got 3 receivers on this side and only 2 guys to cover him. Easy first down. Cake read. Not hard to deal with. Doesn't make sense. Blitzing that guy is fine. But blitz where it makes sense. Don't run corner blitzes against an air raid. That's what we did against Miami multiple times. 0 drop, quick throw out, right? This is how Ward burned us up and down the field. Not solely how, but it was a big part of the reason. These things don't make any sense. It's fine to blitz. I want you to blitz, but run blitzes that make sense. AA's blitzes made sense for the most part. I didn't see him doing a lot of this stuff. One, we didn't see him running a ton of corner blitzes and safety blitzes. He would run some nickel corner blitzes occasionally against the run, which makes sense. I'm just done. I want AA back. Put him on the sideline, give him the headset back, let him play calls. If Ron stays on the team, he can be a consultant up in the booth. I'm out, man. I'm out. I'm done. And that'll lead us nicely into visor throw. If that wasn't visor throwy enough. So
visor throwy? Is that like coin flippy?
Maybe, yeah. Visor throwy. Yeah. I'm just making up words all over the place. I don't care.
I love it.
All right. I've only really got one thing in visor throw, and it's Napier and his job. I know we said Napier's seat wasn't that hot at the beginning of this season, and I stand by that. I feel that take was correct. And I still think that was accurate when we gave you that feedback, if you listened to that pod. However, we never foresaw, ever in a million years, the kind of terrible play we are seeing on the field with this roster. So to that end, to the board, to the UAA, to anybody listening that is related to those groups, for not firing Napier over the weekend, shame on you. This is a mess, and this is the worst football I have seen by far out of a Napier coached team at Florida. So what are we doing? And oh, by the way, it's the best team on paper that we've had. By far and away on both of those scales. Absolutely the worst football, absolutely the best team on paper talent-wise. So the only explanation there is coaching. Period. Somebody is not getting the message across of what needs to be done. I don't care what the players say about game plan. Mertz, I appreciate your culture injection over the weekend there, and your standing up for your coach and everything else. That's an honorable thing to do, but I'm sorry, I'm not buying it. Players don't play like this if they understand and know what to do, and furthermore, the plan of what to do is sound. Look at almost any team in college football. You don't see this. This is awful. I mean, it was difficult for me to watch this game. As a lifelong Gator fan, it was hard to watch, and not just because of the score or something. I've seen plenty of blowout. It was such bad football. It was really hard to watch. And Napier straight up said after the game that he bears the responsibility, and I agree. And it's time to go. It's time to go. So that's my visor throw. That's it. That's where I'm at. I'm done.
I got you. So I will round that out to, why did we punt on 4th and 11 from Florida West's 37-yard line?
Yeah, I don't know that answer either. When we're already down 10-0? I don't remember the score at that point. It was at least 10.
Correct. But it's within
No, I think it was 13 then. I think it was 13.
Either way, it was in Smack's range by at least a yard or two.
Yep.
At least a yard or two. I get the rain, I get that, but you know what? We needed to put points on the board, and that was a viable opportunity to put points on the board and not to be held scoreless in the first half. Oh, by the way, side note, Napier teams have been held scoreless in the first half more than any other coach in UF history. Okay, moving on. We allow Florida West to break their 10-game SEC road losing streak on Saturday.
Yeah, we did, baby.
Really?
Making other teams look good. Napier football.
Great. Right? Just unreal. I'm going to put an APB out on an O-line because based off everything that we've heard and the redevelopment and the addition of new pieces and the depth and the strength training and the everything else, I don't think this O-line can block a JV team.
No, they did block the JV team. Okay, they just can't block a varsity team.
Oh, fair point. Touche. Plus 10 points, B. Plus 10 points. You got me. Folks, this is the first time in 32 years the University of Florida Gators have posted a losing record after 3 games. I'm just going to let that sit in for a second. Oh, yeah, I'm going to let another thing sit in. 27.3 points per game. Second fewest in the SEC, only behind Kentucky? Vanderbilt has a higher point per game average right now than we do.
And that stat is totally padded because if you look at points versus real opponents, it's 18.5.
I rest my case, Your Honor. Exactly. A comment, a quote. I will quote this. Several people said it within the organization. I don't think I have to say the people. I think we know the people. But the quote is, Florida football, or we are going to surprise some people this fall. Or in other words, we are going to surprise.
It's been a surprise, all right.
B, I don't know about you, but I don't like this kind of surprise.
Nah.
In no way, shape, or form. This has been absolutely atrocious. And folks, I get in all kinds of weather, we all stick together. Yes, it's very difficult. As much as we want to see things through our orange and blue goggles, as much as we want to fight, and everything else that we want to do to root for this team, because on paper, B, I don't disagree. On paper, this is probably the most talented team that Napier has had. You look at the blue chip ratios, you look at the overall star recruiting quality. And I'm not saying we've caught up to Georgia, but definitely there were some strides made between last fall and this fall. And to what end? This?
Yeah. Now the only thing I can say, and something we were talking about before we started recording tonight, is two of the teams we have played are two of the more talented teams we're actually going to see on the schedule. They're two of the top 4 certainly, and possibly 2 of the top 5 that we're going to face from a talent composite standpoint. I'd have to go back and look where Ole Miss ranks because I don't know. I don't remember where they rank on the talent composite, but I think they're 2 of the top 5 that we're going to face. Or I know they're 2 of the top 5, and they might be 2 of the top 4. So that is something to keep in perspective, right? Texas A&M is 4th on the talent composite. So it is something to keep in mind when you look at, the talent that we are facing. Miami was 1 rank below us, I believe, on the talent composite. I think they were 13th and we were 12th, or they were 12th and we were 11th. I don't remember the exact ranks, but something in that neighborhood. LSU is 7th. Georgia's obviously, well, no, they're not 1st. They're 2nd, I think, or maybe even 3rd. I think they're 3rd, actually, believe it or not, because either Bama or Ohio State's 1st and then the other 2nd. But anyway, long story short, that's where these teams all rank out. So talent-wise, there is something to keep in mind in regards to some of these matchups. So
I'll tell you what.
For perspective.
I'll see your talent, right? And then what I'm going to do, I see your talent. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise you the fact that a lot of people said that Billy Napier could potentially out-strategize other coaches. And with the depth and the extent of our coaching staff, we should be able, with the talent that we do have, at least be in the here's the thing. I have no problem with the talent discrepancy. We're not even in the I mean,
I know we're not in the game.
We're not even in the game.
Yeah, agreed. And that's the problem, right? That's the issue. And I want to stress that. I want to go back. I don't mean to cut you off, but I want to go back to something that I said in regards to my visor throw. One point that I kind of failed to make here is I'm not done with Napier because we lost or because we're 1-2. I'm done because we got wrecked, absolutely dump trucked at home by 2 teams that are one that's good, not great, is my evaluation of Miami so far based on what I've seen, and one that is kind of okay. And they both smoked us. That's where my issue lies. At home, two teams, and that's your results from those games. Is they both come in there and look like world beaters against you, and one is good, not great. And maybe I'm wrong about that, but I don't think I am. I'm pretty sure they're good, not great, and I think that'll show up once they actually play somebody, which isn't going to happen until at least the ACC title game at minimum, and probably not till the playoff, because their schedule is laughably easy in Miami. And the other is Texas A&M, which has already shown against a decent opponent in Notre Dame, I guess, because they lost NIU the next week. So, but that these things can happen. But they're, a decent opponent, and they showed not to be that much. Now, again, I'll give you the X factor. The X factor was the change in quarterback, and we were clearly not ready for that. But that wasn't the only reason we lost that game. It was not. We would not have. I don't know that we'd have won that game with Wegman the way we couldn't stop their running game. We talked about that being the key. So that's the reason I'm done. That's the reason I'm done. Is because he can't even get us competitive with average teams or slightly above average teams. Talent-wise, again, A&M ranks up there, but they haven't shown that in their play at all yet. And we made them look like world beaters. And when you make teams that are not that good look like world beaters, it's because you're really bad at what you're doing. And that's not okay when you yourself are talented as a squad. That's the end message of what I'm trying to say. So sorry, I know I interrupted and went on a rant, but please continue if you have more.
B, I don't wish I did. I think we summed it up pretty good. I mean, it's really hard to shift the optics. It's really hard to put on different glasses. It's really hard to go to the optometrist and look at a different prescription. What we're seeing within those white lines on that field is absolutely atrocious football, period.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, it's extremely difficult to even watch. I mean, I'll say this. If we didn't do what we do in doing this podcast, I wouldn't have watched certainly the fourth quarter of that game, and possibly even less than that. And that is something I would have to go back a long time to say, because I don't not watch Gator games. I just don't do it. So that's tough for me to even admit, but it's the truth. I had an impulse to turn it off, and I was like, well, can't do that. So it's rough. It's rough. So anyway, moving on. Recruiting. Multiple recruits again in attendance here to watch us get trounced. It's a great look. Super.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's just awesome. It's going to do great things for us. We haven't had reports of losing anybody yet, but I'm sure that we probably actually have, and it just hasn't been released publicly, frankly. This class is going to go from not so good to terrible in a hurry, in my opinion. And when it rains, it pours, just like the game. There you go. That's what I got. You got anything to add to that?
No, outside of the fact that I was actually going to, in my notes, I have it's surprising that we have not heard any regressions in recruiting. But then again, that's probably you're not wrong, probably being held off as well, because when you look at everything else that the UAA has to stumble and fumble and bumble around with right now to try and do damage control, it's no easy task.
No, it is not. No, it is not, for sure. Culture-wise, Pride of the Sunshine. Yeah, that's fun. Positive thing here, I will say teams still showed effort. I really do see this as a theme with this group. They do show effort on the field while they're playing. I don't see them walking around loafing. They run hard. They get after it. They show effort in what they're trying to do, even if they don't do it well, even when they get down. But I will say I don't know if it was the weather or what, it looked dreary in the stadium because of the weather, so I can't tell if it was kind of a reflection of that on TV. But you were there, you would have a better perspective of this than me. Body language not look good. I felt like body language did not look good on that sideline, even early. Like even early. It seemed like I was seeing stuff that was not looking great from a body language standpoint. Like I didn't see anybody on the sideline trying to rile anybody up when we got down, or trying to, kind of have their head high. And again, maybe it was because it was raining and they were trying to be under tents. I don't know. It's hard for me to say, but that was the impression that I got from that. So I'd be interested to get your take on that. And then the only other thing I have is, and I do not have this substantiated, so I will put that out there up front. There was a report, and it has not been fact checked. Full disclaimer, I do not have a fact check on this. That Trey Wilson liked a comment about Napier, about it being time to fire Napier on Twitter or X. That is not a good look from a culture standpoint, whether I agree with it or not. It's not a good look from a culture standpoint. Now, again, it's not documented. I do not know if that is real. It could very well be fake, right? We see fake stuff all the time. There were a couple fake posts that floated around over the weekend about certain different things that I found out later were not real after I saw them. So it is possible that is not legitimate. So I will put that out there right now. And if it's fake, then full retraction. But I did not have a chance to fact check it. So maybe I shouldn't even bring it up. But if it is real, it's not a good look from a culture standpoint to see that. So don't know what to make of that exactly. That's all I got from culture standpoint.
Overall, pretty good summation. I agree with you. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. And for the record, what Ben is talking about is there's a post from NIL Consultant, and it basically says it's a caption of Billy walking with his head down, with the shirt he wore in the Miami game. It says, "It is time. Florida needs to fire Billy Napier." And one of the likes is by EW3. EW3, Eugene Wilson III. So again, is it valid? Who knows? With the clickbait, with all the bots, with all the fake news out there. Again, like Ben said, we're not able to fact check it. But if that's the case, that's very interesting. And the very first thing when Ben showed me that and we talked about that, one of the first things I thought about was halftime at the Samford game. And Trey's attitude, his body language. DJ came over to him trying to catch him there. That last pass, it didn't end up working out. Bad hit. You can tell he was absolutely dejected. Came back out, of course, in the third quarter. They got him involved, but you can tell it was just not good. Not good at all. I'm going to start with the positives. I love the effort still out of Mertz. Banged up, back against the wall, whatever you want to call it. I agree with you. To see him come out in the third quarter and really lead, take charge, take him down the field, phenomenal. Shamir DK, great game out of him. He knew he had to step up big. Trey was not there to take some of that attention, take some of the targets. So he did, and he did. And especially when it comes to playing special teams and being the wide receiver number one, kudos to him. Had a phenomenal game. You can tell his maturity and leadership. Those things are there. Treyon Webb and Jacoby Jackson had themselves a pretty good game in all respect when you look at everything that happened on offense. These guys, I love the way they run. They run hard. They run powerful. And I agree with you. There's a difference between fast and quick. They have a very quick first step. To your point, quicker than Trell. No disrespect to Trell. I would love to see Webb and Jackson as a two-headed type deal and get them involved earlier in the play scheme. Oh wait, you have to have a scheme to. Okay, never mind. Napier at the podium. And I quote, "Yeah, it's disgusting. Ultimately, that's my fault. We need to do much better." Okay. At what point in time do you man this football field And this team, through spring practice, through fall, through everything, how do you not see what's unfolding right in front of you? And the fact of the matter is, this did not just happen over the course of a week. This happened over the course of 9 months of preparation. How did we not see this happening? Quote number 2. A reporter asked about the booing. Napier, quote, I probably would have done the same thing. Really? I don't know what it is. At times, I've enjoyed Napier for what he's done off the field, for what he's done with Gatorade, for what he's done with personnel, for what they've done with culture, for what they've done with on the off the field issues, which there are none, essentially. So as far as that goes, the program's been cleaned up. So that's fine. I have no problems there. I have problems come Saturday, and I have problems come the end of the score. As if I'm going to quote the great Bill Parcells, you are what your record says you are, period. Period. We talked about moral victories. We talked about if we can keep it close. We talked about if we can be in these games, have a shootout, have an opportunity, be competitive. Do we pass the eye test this fall? Goodness gracious, no. Far from it. At what point do we allow culture? At what point do we allow leadership? At what point do we allow the accountability of all the things that we've put in place to speak loudly, to help us to right the ship, to correct the course? Where is the pride? I don't know if we can get it back this season. And if we do, players have to take ownership and say, bump this, bump that. We're going to go leave it all out there. Leave it all out there. That's the only way that the momentum, the enthusiasm, the excitement can be retained. They have to do something about it. And if the coaches aren't going to get amped up, if there's going to be accountability, but it's soft and quiet accountability, it's, hey, you missed that block over there. Oh, okay, I'll get it next time. No, bump that. Bump that. We have to go out as players and take charge and recognize and understand when to seize. You need a killer instinct. You need to have that Mamba mentality, whatever you want to call it. But that's where we start to regain some of this team. Right there. That's all I got for Pride of Sunshine.
We're going to get you on the sideline, buddy. I'm fired up. That was great.
We'll take
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. All right. Now that we finished up Visor Throw segment 6, we will move on to Visor Throw segment 7. Just kidding. No, that's no, it's really good. No, and I, as we know, that's well, if you're not aware, first time listener or something like that, Randy's very passionate about the Pride of Sunshine segment. So there you go, as evidenced. So no, I think your points are very, very valid, very well taken. And yeah, all spot on. So moving along. 2, officiating. Move back, you suck. A lot of penalties in this game. A lot of penalties. As I mentioned earlier, we heard that song a lot. A lot of penalties on A&M. Actually, a lot more than on us, even though we had quite a few. Overall, I really didn't think it was too terrible. As far as the officiating went, I didn't think they got too much wrong. Missed a few here or there. But I didn't think it was anything egregious, with one really horrific exception, to the extent of, I'm going to say it's highly likely it's the worst call I've ever seen. And it's going to be the call for targeting on bridges. I went so far as to research the actual rule. I read the entire rule, soup to nuts, looked it up, NCAA rule book. I actually found the NCAA rule book, which I couldn't do last year, but I did this year. So, targeting on bridges. Later in the first half, I don't remember exactly when it was. If you're not familiar with what happened, if you didn't see it, Turquez went in for a tackle. He jumped to make the tackle and his arms were extended fully. They were reaching around to wrap up the defender. And the first thing that happened to make contact as he was reaching was his helmet. This is correct. And it was the top of his helmet with the defender's or with the offensive player's hip. So he hit him, helmet first, in the hip. As he was reaching out and around him to grab him and make a form tackle, he just happened to contact him with his helmet first. Now, again, as I'll state, I read the rule. Technically, by the definition of the rule, yes, it is possible to call that targeting because he did make first contact with the crown of his helmet. However, there is a lot more to that rule than just that. And clearly, when you read all the information in the rule book, which I did, about what targeting is about in regards to player safety, and what I would define as the spirit of the rule, in no way, shape, manner, or form was that what that rule is there for. That rule is there to protect players, defenseless players who could be hurt by being hit by the crown of a helmet. That is the purpose and reason for that rule. I would really like to know how a guy who happens to be contacted by a helmet when somebody is trying to make a form tackle on them in the midsection of their body is in danger of being injured significantly anyway. Injury can happen on any play in football, I understand that, but of significant injury because of said tackle. In no way, shape, manner, or form does that fit the spirit or the purpose of that rule. Why it was even reviewed in the first place is so beyond me. When you look at what happened the prior week with DJ Lagway twice that wasn't even looked at. I am dumbfounded, absolutely dumbfounded by the idiocy of what happened on that play, and then to have him be ejected for said tackle. It's absurd. We have gone to a point where let's just play flag football at this point, seriously. And I'm not trying to sound like somebody who doesn't appreciate the reason for the rules. Those rules are important. They matter. Concussions are a big deal. I am really sorry to see what happened to Tua on Thursday night. I am worried about that guy. I really hate seeing that. They matter. CTE is real. I am in no way, in any way, discrediting that at all. Please do not take it that way. But what happened on that play was ridiculous. Ridiculous. Nobody was in danger of getting CTE on that play. If anybody was, maybe Turquez was, but not really, because he impacted something soft, a fleshy part of the body. I got nothing. That's it. That's all I got. Even it's not all I got. I lied. Even the ESPN guest official said, by the letter of the law, yeah, okay, but that's a tough call. So, in other words, what are we doing? Okay, that's all I got. Go for it.
First of all, good job going into the rule book. You're absolutely right. Secondly, guest official Matt Austin, great official over many, many years, great guy. You're not wrong. Crap ton of laundry on the field. A&M, Florida West, 13 penalties, 110 yards. The Gators,
clean game.
Yeah. 7 penalties for 65 yards. So, yeah, they ended up having almost twice as many penalties and yardage, but, of course, that didn't matter. Also, great anatomy breakdown as far as between the hip and the hamstring there, right? The fleshy part, I like it. Folks, I don't know. Sometimes when you look at calls, and I get it, right? As an official, I'm only at the high school level. I'm not even at the highest level. And some things are bang, bang. Yes, I get it. But at the same time, let's use some common sense. Let's use some
Please.
common sense. On a high school football field, you've got 5 officials. Especially when you look at the way that a high school football game is called. In a college football game, you've got 7 officials, plus you've got eyes in the sky, plus you've got Birmingham, Alabama, whatever, where the replay booth is. Seriously? The only one who could have gotten hurt there was Trquez because of the way he kind of crouched down, whatever the case might be. But at the end of the day, his arms were out, wrapped up his legs, just like B said. Helmet, lower part, right, of the hip, down in between the helmet and his shoulder pad. But yes, the helmet got more of it, but still not malicious, not with vile intent, absolutely unacceptable. Never should have been called, ever. And now he's got to sit out half the next game? No,
he doesn't because it was in the first half.
Oh crap! Never mind. I apologize on it. That was first half. Okay.
That's the only slight piece of relief, but it's ridiculous anyway.
You're right. My apologies. So based off of that, what was tough is to see what happened last week. I believe you said it. DJ had 2 hits on him. Neither were called.
To the head with another helmet, and weren't even reviewed. That's the thing. That's the thing that kills me. It didn't even get looked at. I can't. If we're going to take it to that level, then we need to be looking at anything that even resembles the possible threat, right? Every game needs to be starting to take about 4 or 5 hours like this one did, and we got to look at everything if we're looking at that. I mean,
6, 7 replays,
easy, minimum. Just, I swear, I can't. I just can't.
Yeah. Outside of that, though, a lot of laundry. That's it. One completely egregious call. Moving on.
Yes, indeed. And obviously didn't impact the game. So I should have said that. As you said, it's a valid point. But that one just really made me lose my mind. So probably overkill on the explanation there. But I couldn't deal with it. I just couldn't deal with it. It broke every sense of fair play that I have that is very important to me. And for the record, there's 2 reasons we do that segment. One is because of Randy's perspective on it, but 2, it's something I really wanted to keep in because fair play in the game I find very important. And when we feel that a game is influenced by officials, we both take a huge issue with it. Randy, both because of his background and also because of his sense of fair play, part of the reason he does officiating. But we both have a huge issue with a fair and balanced game being a big part of this. And we know officials try their best to do that, for the most part. But when it doesn't work out that way, we at least feel a need to bring that up. And we'll talk about a little bit more of kind of reasons why we do a couple of the things at the end of this that we're going to get into, but we'll leave that alone for now. So moving on to the wrap up. Talk to me. Where do we go from here, bud? Let's kind of get into the next steps for this team if you can see any.
Where do we go from here? Well, we go to Starkville.
Yeah, that's where we go. You're right.
Yeah. So interesting move by the Board of Trustees. Obviously, they met Sunday morning.
Maybe, by the way, I read something from Gators Online, said they could not substantiate that meeting even happened.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, some damn body met. Okay. whether it was 2 of them, 3 of them, I'm going to sound like LeBron here. Not 1, not 2.
Not 2.
Somebody met, somebody spoke. There were a series of text messages. There was a text message thread. There was an email thread. You can't tell me within the UAA and the Board of Trustees, no damn body talked on Sunday morning. Okay?
Yeah, I think somebody did for sure.
Okay. Secondly, regardless of, and this is something B and I mentioned in previous pods, don't just come at me with the problem. Okay, fire Napier. Yep. Napier's on the hot seat. No problem. Okay, what's the solution? I don't know. Hey, let's get DeBoer. Well, DeBoer just signed a multi-year contract at Alabama. He's not leaving Alabama for Florida. What about Fish? Fish is okay. Fish, Arizona, now in Washington, living his best life in the Pacific. No problem.
Living his best life, losing to Wazoo, but all right.
Yeah, I know. But either way, he's breathing some clean mountain air and eating good fish and salmon. I don't know. I don't know what else you want to say about that. Okay. regardless of the fact, the reality of it, does Lane come to Florida? I don't know, right? For
I
what?
don't think so.
$150 million over the course of 10 years? Seriously? Is that what we've come to? Where do we go from here? I'm going to go back to my pride segment. Pride of the Sunshine, that is. When you look at what needs to take place moving forward, if we have the culture, the accountability, and the leadership that we think we have, that we've been hearing about, all the different things. Again, like you said, kudos to Graham for stepping up for his coach. No problem. Okay, got no issue with that, right? But at the same time, are you experiencing the same experience that your fan base is? Okay. We already are paying a lot of money outside of the apparel to show up for home games, everything else that goes into it. And when you look at the NIL component to boot, now you have another delta, an extremely exaggerated delta that we hadn't factored in recent years. So based off of that, the only way I see us turning around this season is when you get sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
And so if Napier's not animated on the side, and that's one of the things that I did enjoy last year about AA, he did juxtapose that emotion, that raw emotion on the sideline against Billy fairly well, right? We talked about that several times. I want to see some players. I want to see some players really take it on themselves to go out there and raise hell.
Yep.
Even
I
within
agree.
their own locker room or not, but I want to see a shift in that perspective right there. And the thing that scares me about Starkville is, by the way, it's not Mississippi State. It's not more cowbell. It's a fact that it's an early game.
Yep. 11 a.m. kick.
Holy
body time,
smoke.
anyway. 11 a.m. body time, by the way. It's 12 a.m. kick for everybody. Don't get freaked out.
Yeah, exactly. So early game, we're just barely waking up, and oh yeah, you got to go out there and play a game. So
and we do not have a great history of those recently.
Not at all. Not at all. And so that's what's tough. I don't know where we go from here. But at the end of the day, if we have as much toughness and grit and mental focus that we're supposed to, that we've been hearing from.
Yeah, well, I have no faith in that. So
I know.
Yeah. That all you got?
I rest my case, Your Honor.
All right. So I'm gonna bring the depression meter to about an 11 with the first part of what I'm gonna say, but I promise I'm not gonna close with that. So let me get through it. It's gonna get ugly here for a second, and then I'll make it better. So give me a minute.
I'm ready.
So it's very hard for me to see how we continue in a positive direction going forward after this loss. I called this a must-win game. I felt it was going to be a must-win game for this season to go in anywhere that resembled a positive direction, overall. So I don't see how we continue positively after not just losing, but how we lost and how we looked, right? I don't see this going anywhere but a very, very difficult and long, kind of ugly finish. Any faith that I still had in this coaching staff to help the team bounce back is frankly gone. And I will have to be proven wrong at this point from what I've seen, because what is on film against anyone but the inferior competition that we have played is frankly garbage. We should be and are better than how we are playing, and that is extremely hard to stomach as a Florida fan. It's just, as I mentioned, hard to watch, right? So, to that end, where do we go from here? I don't think we go in a positive direction. I think I've made that pretty clear from what I've said. However, here's your sunnier side of the street, and I kind of alluded to this earlier. The talent gap in the next the next 2 games, and then 3 of the next 4 games. Actually, it is the next 4 games, honestly, is in our favor. For the next 4 games, we have the talent gap in our favor. It's just significantly in our favor for 3 of the 4. Tennessee is close. But we are actually more talented on paper than they are. but don't count on winning that game. Let's be clear. They look like world beaters. Of course, they haven't played anybody, in fairness, so we'll pump the brakes on that. Well, NC State's okay. I shouldn't say anybody. But overall, though, the talent gap is different than the first two teams we played, right? One was basically the same, but I think the players on the field probably were more experienced and probably who was on the field that was actually better. We know this team was better. So the sunnier side of the street is the talent gap for Mississippi State is significant versus UCF is fairly significant, and versus Kentucky is decent too, despite what they did to Georgia. But keep in mind, Georgia has not scored 20 points 3 times in the last 4 years, and it was at Kentucky 3 times. So, whatever reason, that's a little house of horrors for them when they go to Lexington. I don't know why. Anyway, moving along. So, again, the positive vibe I can get here is the next 2 games especially, we win the talent gap pretty handily. Doesn't mean we're going to win the game. Not saying that. However, I am saying that there are opportunities for us to have some better matchups, to maybe have not such a tough time on the O-line as what we have been seeing, to potentially be able to execute some things better because of that battle in the trenches. Maybe our D-line looks like they can actually do something against an opponent. I don't know. Perhaps I'll actually say, I'll take that back. The D-line actually did hit the backfield a fair amount of times. Gums looked decent. I saw Sapp in the backfield quite a few times. We got back there with some of the blitz schemes that we ran when we weren't blitzing a corner or a safety. We just had a very elusive quarterback we weren't ready for this game. But we actually got in the defensive or in the offensive backfield multiple times during this game. So I actually am not totally annoyed with the defensive line play in this game. And I should have probably called that out in the defense, and I didn't. But they don't get an F. So anyway, so that's the sunnier side. Again, the potential for the next couple of games to not be as bad as 2 of these first 3 were is there. I don't know that it's going to happen. Again, I lack some faith, but I will share some interesting things about the sims I ran as well in a minute here when we go through and look at that after we do keep it or pitch it. But it just there are some things that maybe don't look quite as bad. So again, hope for the best, plan for the worst. Probably going to plan for the worst a little more than I have been. Not that I haven't been doing that, but still hoping for the best. So moving along, keep it or pitch it. Last week wasn't good. Randy went 1-2. I went 0-3. We really thought we might do better here. Just for a refresher, we had Florida West converting third downs at 42.9 and UF at 30. UF went down from there. Florida West did not go up from there, I will say that. UF will convert third downs at a higher percentage than Florida West during the game. I kept it. Randy pitched it. Randy was right. We held them to 38.5, which was significantly below their average, which was good. We converted at 22.2. Yikes. So that's a no. So Randy was correct there. I was not. Florida West is averaging 239.5 yards per game rushing through 2 games. UF is allowing 102.5 yards per game. We were doing pretty good on the ground. UF will limit Florida West to under 160 yards rushing. We found that to be a real key of the game because of time of possession. As we mentioned, time of possession, real key to the game, needed to be winning that metric or very close to it. You know, that needed to be real even. We got dominated and then got creamed. Yeah, that was a key metric in this game. And of course, part of the reason why is because they rushed for 310 yards and we got smoked on the ground. Both wrong. We both kept it. We were both wrong. Last but not least, Florida West is currently allowing 317.5 yards per game in total defense. UF will gain over 350 yards of total offense. We, of course, did not. We got 301. We both kept it. We were both wrong. There we go. Moving along. We're going to change how we do keep it or pitch it just a little bit. We have historically done this based on both our performance and the other team's performance. We did not do that this week. We're not going to look at what, I mean, I will tell you, we did look at it after we made these picks just to kind of see where they stacked up. And frankly, if we don't hit at least a couple of these numbers, then this has gotten even worse, honestly, because we looked at some of these things compared to what Mississippi State is allowing or what they're doing, or either what they're allowing or what they're producing. We better do better than the numbers that we're seeing here, because they're not producing anywhere near what we're asking for, and or allowing what we're asking for. And so that's but again, we set these numbers without looking at that first. So to that end, here we go. Florida is averaging 296 yards per game against FBS opponents. We took out Samford because we didn't want it skewing the numbers. So Florida's averaging 296 yards per game of total offense against FBS opponents. Not good so far this season. We will improve on that number this weekend and gain more than 325 yards of offense. Not a lot. We only want a 30-yard a game improvement here. Keep it or pitch it.
Oh my gosh. Starkville, road game.
More cowbell.
Early, cowbell, pitch.
Wow. Okay. I'm keeping it. I'm keeping
Okay.
this one. It's not that much of an increase. They do not have a good defense. They are allowing like 380 yards a game, by the way. So again, we set this number way low. Again, we didn't set it based on that. But I think we can do 325. I don't think we'll do a lot more than that, but I think we can do 325. Okay. Florida is allowing, hold on to your hats, 508 yards, 508.5 yards per game against FBS opponents. 508 yards per game against FBS opponents. We will improve on that number this weekend and allow no more than 425 yards of total offense to the Bulldogs, who, by the way, are only averaging about 360 per game. Keep it or pitch it.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting number there. I think we're both gonna, and it's almost going to be like Little Giants versus. Anyways, sorry, we're gonna allow no more than 425 of
No
offense.
more than 425. 426 and you're cooked. You're keeping it. Okay, I'm pitching it. I'm pitching it. I have zero faith in this defense. None. Zip. My ship has sailed on the Rob Roberts experiment. Until it is done, I have nothing. So yeah, I'm pitching it. I think we'll give up a metric ton of yards, which we should not, because this team is not good. But yeah, I'm pitching it. Prove me wrong, please. I'm begging you. Okay, so last but not least, we're going to keep a similar theme to last week with the third down conversions on this one. Florida's currently converting a smoldering 27.6 third down conversion percentage of 27.6. That ranks about 106th, I think we saw. Yeah, killing it. We will improve on this conversion percentage this weekend and get at least 33%, just one third of our third down opportunities. Keep it or pitch it.
Well, that's got to be a key to winning the game. And despite the cowbell and everything else, you're saying, okay, at least a third, huh?
1/3.
33%.
Well, technically a little less than a third, because I'm not saying 33.3, so 33. Close enough.
Okay, technicality here.
Technicality, baby. We get it right. We get it right.
I'll tell you what. Mississippi State, yeah, you know what? To hell with it. I'm keeping it.
Keeping it. All right. So we have our first time where we disagree on every one. I love it. I'm pitching it. Third and Napier in the house. Third and Napier in the house. I'm pitching it.
Oh no.
Till we have an OC, I'm pitching it. I'm using your patented expression there, because we can't call a third down play to save our life. So I'm pitching it. There we go. All right. So there you have it, and I like it. We're disagreeing on all of them. That's how this should be. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, we'll see what happens next week. Somebody's going to take a nice little lead, because we are tied up right now. So we'll see how that goes. All right. So sim notes. Yes, very interesting. So I want to share something real quick here. I won't take too long to do it, but I haven't been sharing the results of how these games have been going, because I haven't put much stock in it, but maybe I should have. previously I've run like 20 sims based on different scenarios, 10 with one certain player or certain players in, 10 more with another player in. Like last week, I did 10 with Lagway starting, 10 with Mertz starting because I didn't know who the starter was going to be. Obviously, it ended up being a mix. I did not run a mix. I did for this week, but that was the way that it was set up, was 10 with one, 10 with the other. For the record, we went 3-7 with Mertz as the starter, and 2-8 with Lagway as the starter. So I didn't put much stock in that. I didn't think the game really knew, what to make of certain things about it. And I knew we had certain players out, right? Because I've been setting the lineup according to who I knew was injured, right? I've been taking guys out, things of that nature. Going back to Miami, we were 4-6 with the correct starting lineup there. So the game has actually done a pretty good job of accurately predicting who the winner would be. Now, it didn't predict that they would be blowouts, for the record. Well, I mean, it had blowouts as some of the results, but not most of them. There was really only one with Miami, and there were a couple with A&M. So it is interesting. It's actually doing a kind of a good job of being a predictive tool. To that end, I'm going to share with you that we went 9-1 in the 10 sims that I ran, alternating quarterbacks on series for this game. 9-1 at Starkville with a noon kick, because you can set all that. Kind of interesting. Again, talent disparity in our favor. Don't know if it means anything. Not saying it will. Not making a prediction based off that at all. Not using it as a predictive tool. But the interesting takeaway was this. There were a lot of stats that came out of it. Varying scores. Some were close. Some were not close. We had several blowouts. And what was interesting about it was the rushing number. So the average rushing yards per game for us was 203.8. However, the more we ran for, the more rushing yards we produced, the more we won by. There was a direct correlation. The game we had the most rushing yards in, we had the biggest margin of victory. And one of the games we had the least rushing yards in, we actually lost, though there was some turnovers going on there. And it actually wasn't the one we had the least in, but that was because of the turnovers. And the one we had the least in that we still won, I believe we had a 3-point victory. So, interesting. So what I would say is we need to rush for at least 150 yards, I think, in this game combined, right, from all sources. And the more we can get, the closer we can get to that 200 number, the easier I think the win will be, assuming we don't have a slew of turnovers, right? That would be something that would mess this up. Or, turnover margin isn't negative significantly against us like it was versus Texas A&M, because that did not help, obviously. So that's the takeaway that I have from this. So keep an eye on the rushing number. See if that doesn't become kind of an indicator. And if you see us rushing again for 70 yards in this game, we have a problem. I'm going to tell you that right now. We don't look good and we probably lose. So that's my takeaway. There you go.
Wow.
Kind of interesting. I'm telling you, man, it's remarkably predictive, and it's getting better at figuring out Lagway too. It wasn't figuring him out as a good passer to begin with. It started to figure him out. It's seeing him more predictive as far as the yards per attempt. It's getting him more yards, more completed pass. Like it's learning. They do a pretty good job with it. Kudos to them. Hats off. They with at least the simulations. Still have some issues with live gameplay, but I'll leave that alone. So anyway, one thing we did want to go over before we close out here is just some of the reasons that we do this. We haven't talked about this a lot lately. We talked about it a lot when we first started, but we do this just for straight up love and appreciation of Gator football. We both do. But we were kind of talking the other day, and it came to our attention that there's probably another reason we should mention we do this too. And it has to do with providing accurate information.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, why don't you talk us through some of the stat discrepancies that we've encountered since we started doing this, just real quick, because I don't want to take too long talking about this, but just real briefly, talk about some stat discrepancies that we've seen since we started this.
Yeah, not at all. But it's amazing. Ben and I, when we first started doing this, we would talk about, hey, how many yards completed? Like what? What number did you get? 321. No, it's 328. Huh? How many completions did he have? How about the running yards? How about it was amazing to me between ESPN, CBS, even the Gator stat website and maybe another source or two, the discrepancies of passing yards, completions, rushing yards. It was just unreal. Unreal.
Yeah, for sure. It's amazing that depending on what site you look at, there's a different rushing total, there's a different passing total, there's a different tackle number. It's wild. There's a different person who got credit for the tackle. So it's remarkable. But having said that, one of the things that we also notice in reading multiple different articles, which we do in regards to research for this and just general knowledge of things that are going on, is the amount of, I could be nice and call them typos, or I could be less than nice and call them errors, because they're really beyond typos. They're really just errors that are in sports articles today. I don't know why. I don't know if it's just because it's all printed online and there's no more editors that exist in the world, or just nothing gets edited. I don't know. But it kind of goes back to the fact checking thing we were talking about earlier. We try very diligently to provide information that is accurate and correct with what we bring to you. That's why we base things on film analysis. That's why we say at the beginning that we want things to be backed in fact, right? That's a very important thing to the whole theme of this pod. And we think it's really important because, unfortunately, when you go out there and you just read something, I hate to say it, but it's highly possible that what you're reading is wrong. And I don't mean that because I don't think it's intentionally wrong, for the record. I don't think people are doing this maliciously, but we read things all the time that are just flat wrong. I read something the other day that gave Jordan Castell the credit for the only interception that Florida has on the season. And that is wrong.
No.
That is incorrect. Shamar James has the only interception on the season. So things like this are, it may not seem like a big deal, but I mean, it kind of is, right? Like, we have one interception and that's not the player who has it. And yet you give him credit for it in an article. I don't know how you do something like that, but it happens all the time. You'd be astounded how many errors there are. So we just wanted to point out that one of the things that we really work hard to do, and I'm not saying we never make a mistake, I'm sure that we have and we do, but we try extremely diligently not to. We try to fact check and document everything that we do as best as we possibly can. And we try to be, as much as possible, a reliable source of information. So if anybody ever finds something that we didn't, please let us know. We will gladly and very willingly and appreciatively make that correction the next time we record. So we have a Facebook page. Please post it on there. Comment to me, message me, whatever the case might be. Be more than happy to, error or retraction if we did make a mistake. Please let us know, because it matters to us to share, relevant and correct information. So just wanted to make sure we communicated that. And I think with that probably brings us to the end of Therapy 201.
It does. And thank you so much. I feel much better. I really do.
Oh, absolutely. But one other really important thing to get to
Bring
really
it up.
quickly.
Yeah.
I am not going to be on for next week's pod. I will be out of town, out of the country. So Randy will be doing that one on his own. I am going to write to him my notes, so we will have my thoughts to share, but I will not be there to record it. So it will just be him recording for next week. We are not doing an episode the following week because it is the first bye week. We are going to do a bye week episode, but only on the second bye week. So it will be Randy only next week, then not a pod the following week, and we'll be back together for the week following UCF. So just a little programming update on that. So to that end, perfect. I think with that, we can wrap it up.
Perfect. And wherever you are, wherever you may be listening, thank you for taking the time, and we will see you around Gator Nation.